Anheuser-Busch has now made, by my count, its fourth or fifth response to the Dylan Mulvaney controversy. Not Bud Light in my mug, not now, not ever again. Not that I ever particularly cared for Bud Light. That's probably why I will not be the greatest force in the Bud Light boycott. But people are boycotting it, and Anheuser-Busch is scared. That's why they're issuing another response again. And I told you last week that they've tried a few different things. They came out and defended picking Dylan Mulvaney as a sponsor, or as someone that they are sponsoring. That didn't work. That got a lot more backlash. Then they leaked a story. A senior source at Budweiser said that no people at the highest levels knew about this beforehand. This was only a rogue vice president of marketing. This was just the lower people. And this was reported on as though this were to exonerate Anheuser-Busch. I thought it was complete BS. I thought this is exactly the kind of claptrap that crisis communications consultants cook up, because it was perfect. It allowed Budweiser to wink at the conservatives and say, look, we agree with you. That tranny stuff, that's totally crazy. We're totally on your side. We didn't know anything about this. But then it allows the pro-trans people to say, well, look, the younger people at Bud Light, they're pushing on the side of social justice and LGBTism, and this is also great. And we'll just wait for those senior executives to age out of the company, and then nobody does anything. And then Bud Light gets away with it. But Bud Light couldn't take the win, or the quasi-win. So the CEO has just issued a statement. The statement says, as the CEO of a company founded in America's heartland more than 165 years ago, I'm responsible for ensuring every customer feels proud of our brew. We're honored to be part of the fabric of this country and hardworking Americans and blah, blah, blah. We never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people. We're in the business of bringing people together over a beer. My time serving this country taught me the importance of accountability and the vision on which America was founded. Hard work and respect, and I'm the CEO of this heritage in America and blah, blah, blah. I care deeply about this country, this company, our brands and partners. I spend much of my time traveling across America, okay, blah, blah, blah. Moving forward, I will continue to work tirelessly to bring great beers to customers across our nation. Brendan Whitworth. So nothing. The announcement means absolutely nothing. I didn't think this CEO should be fired before. I think he probably should be fired now. This is just such an unbelievable mismanagement of this crisis. It's such a mismanagement, and it's such a misreading of the moment, and it's such a misreading of the issue. Budweiser, I think, could have gotten away with it, with just saying nothing and just taking the hit and moving on. Budweiser also, probably like a lot of other woke companies, could have just weathered the storm by saying, yeah, we picked Dylan Mulvaney as one of our people, and I don't know, next year we'll pick some country singer and it'll be fine. Just move on, keep on keeping on. They lose a bit of market cap in the short term, but then it goes right back up and they'll be fine. They could have also weathered the storm if they came out and said, yeah, we don't support the transgender movement. We support construction workers or whatever. They could. The one thing that wasn't going to work is what the CEO just did. Lukewarmness, middle of the road. This was the point of my speech at CPAC. It's why the libs felt so threatened by my speech that they had to lie about me all the way up from a White House podium. They had to do it because the point of the speech was there is no middle ground on transgenderism. There are some issues where we can find a conciliatory middle ground with the libs. Tax rates would be an example of this. You can find a middle ground on tax rates. Okay, the libs want to raise taxes 50%. We want to cut taxes 20%. All right, whatever. We'll raise taxes slightly. Everyone's happy-ish. Okay, fine. Immigration. You can find a middle ground. Libs want 3 million people a year coming into the U.S. Conservatives want no people coming into the U.S. How about we say 500,000? 500,000 people, okay, fine. Certain issues you can't find a middle ground. Abortion would be one of these issues. The right says we shouldn't murder babies. The left says we should murder babies. What's the middle ground? You're going to literally split the baby? I don't think so. That's an all or nothing issue. And transgenderism even more so. Because with abortion, some not very clearly thinking people will say, okay, well, we'll only permit abortion in these cases, or we'll permit abortion up until 10 weeks, but not at 11 weeks. And that has no logic to it whatsoever. Either the baby's a baby or the baby's not a baby. But sometimes, because the baby doesn't have a voice of his own, because the baby's in the womb and he hasn't learned to speak yet, kids don't really learn to speak until they're like 2. So people ignore that and they just try to put the slaughter of children out of their heads. But on the issue of transgenderism, it's actually even clearer because either the men are, for all intents and purposes, women, or they're not. And you're going to see this very clearly because either the women are going to get their own bathroom that excludes men from it, we call it the ladies' room, or they're not. And there are not going to be any men's rooms and ladies' rooms anymore, and women are going to have to use the bathroom next to men. And little girls are going to have to take showers in the locker room next to grown men. Or they're not, or the men are not allowed in. But there is no middle ground. The moment that you allow one transgender identifying person, a man who thinks that he's a woman, into the women's bathroom, you have abolished women's bathrooms. Those are just two mutually contradictory ideas. And you have to pick one. They cannot simultaneously exist because they contradict one another. I'm reminded of Dante. In Dante's Inferno, there are people who are sort of outside of hell, or on the very outskirts of hell. And it's the lukewarm people, because heaven won't have them and hell won't have them either. They're just spit out. And this comes from the Gospels. These people who are lukewarm, they will be spit out. They're in a way more disgusting even than the sinners, because they've given up their will, they've given up their desire, they've ignored their intellect, they've surrendered their humanity. That's what these people are. You've got to pick a side. To put it a little more terrestrial terms, if you stand in the middle of the road on certain issues, you will be hit by a truck. Now you're seeing other beer companies pounce on this. They're pouncing, just like all the conservatives. Whenever Democrats have a scandal, we pounce. Well, other beer companies are pouncing now. Yuengling, which is a great beer. Yuengling tweets out, nice picture of a can of Yuengling lager right in front of an American flag with a sunrise right behind it. Says, Yuengling, the oldest brewery in America, independently owned, family operated since 1829 because we make good beer. This is really beautiful corporate shade being thrown, and it's being thrown in a very traditionally American way. This is very waspy. The WASPs, the founding stock of America, probably their defining characteristic is their subtlety. They don't showboat. They keep things fairly bottled up, very dry kind of humor. That's what you're seeing here. Yuengling, we're independently owned and operated. Yeah, we just kind of support America and make good beer. Oh, just what? Oh, what did Bud Light do? Oh, I must not have heard about that. Okay, yeah, anyway. We just make really, this is the way. This is the best response I've seen so far to the Bud Light controversy. Yuengling's probably just afraid that Jeremy is going to start his own lager company. They've got to head off Jeremy's lager. They'll say, no, we already do that. We've already been doing that for almost 200 years now. Buy our beer. Right now it's Music Monday, baby. We've got to get to the Membrum Segmentum. Okay? We have got to get to, I'm finally back in my studio. I've got my trusty iPad. I will get to speak to you after a week on the road last week where it was a little hit or miss with the iPad. And we will be bringing to bear our pop culture hip-hop maven skills to analyze a new song. This time, Mr. Davies has given me a song by Demi Lovato. The show continues now. Become a member at dailywire.com/Knowles. Use code Knowles at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans.